Ready for another bar chord? Welcome to Guitar Chords Info Stream, Phase 14, Intro to Bar Chords, Part 8. Here in Part 8, I want to show you a new way to play an old chord, this time using a bar chord, so it'll sound different, sound better. And even though it's learning to play a chord that you already know, this new voicing with the bar chord is actually a significant step forward. Because as I've been saying, eventually, probably sooner than later, these bar chords are going to open up or start to open up new possibilities for you. Well, the name of the new bar chord is A, and it will sound like this. The best place to start with when explaining how to play the A chord with a bar would be to start with the A7th chord that you learned back in Part 6. So as you remember, when we played this A7th bar chord, we had our bar across the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, but we put our second finger on the 1st string at the 3rd fret. Well, in order to play A, we're going to keep our bar, our open A string, we're going to keep in our bar at the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings, but we're going to put our 4th finger in the 5th fret. And also, if you look at things just right, this new A chord, it also resembles the open A chord in a roundabout way. For instance, for the open A chord, of course, we had our 5th string open, then our 1st finger at the 2nd fret. Well, really we played the same notes with our A chord on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings than we did with our bar. The exact same notes, only we used a different fingering. For instance, for the open A, we played on the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. We had our 1st finger, 2nd fret, on the 4th string, and then on the 3rd string we had our 3rd finger at the 2nd fret, and then on the 2nd string we had our 2nd finger at the 2nd fret, and we played our 1st string, of course, open. Well, this new A chord is really the same thing, only where instead of playing our 1st string open, we're putting our 4th finger at the 5th fret on the 1st string. And of course, if we played our A in open position the old way, like we learned back in Phase 3, there's no way that our 4th finger would reach way up here to the 5th fret on the 1st string. So instead we have to do a bar. And that's, I realized that was sort of a long way of explaining how to play the A chord. I actually came from more than one angle at you, but hopefully it helped to give you a little bit of perspective on the fretboard also. So just breaking this new way to play the A chord with a bar, breaking it down one string at a time, we'd have the 5th string open, and then on the 4th string we'd have a 1st finger bar at the 2nd fret. So our 5th and 4th strings would sound like this. And then on the 3rd string, we would also have a 1st finger bar. So the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. the second string, we would also have our first finger bar. So 5th, 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. And then for the first string, we'd have our 4th finger at the 5th fret while holding our bar down on the other strings. And that's A for you. And from now on, I'm going to refer to this way to play the A chord. I'm going to refer to it as the long A chord because the configuration is sort of long. You have your hand stretched over 4 frets for it. And the old way to play the A chord that we learned back in phase 3, I'm going to refer to that from now on as the open A string, or the open A chord rather. And as far as the long A chord, I don't know that that's an official name for it or anything like that. That's what the fellow that taught me how to play the guitar called it, so that's just as good a thing as any to call it as far as I'm concerned. I really don't know of a better name for it or an official name for it. So please spend a little time learning to play the A chord with the bar, and spend a little time strumming it and enjoying the sounds of it. It really does have a different texture than the open A chord. So now I'd like to strum the long A chord for you a little bit. So please spend a little time enjoying the sound of the new A chord. And I might also want to mention that it's important that you keep working on your 4-finger chords that you've learned, because those can be a gateway to the monstrous B7th chord that you have coming up. I believe that's B7th is easily the hardest of all the open chords to play. And some of your 4-finger chords like E6 or E7th, the 4-finger version of it. Let's see, what all did you have? The A major 13th and the tenor C, even the tenor C chord. All of those are good. That would be good practice. So please keep up on those in order to make the transition, or make the monstrous B7th chord as painless as possible. I'll be honest, it's probably going to hurt it really does hurt most of us some learning to play that chord. Also, the bluegrass G and the C add 9 are good chords to work on. So please, besides forging ahead with your bar chords, also work on those 4-finger chords as well and try to keep those up. So spend a little time with the A chord, and when you think you're ready, we'll meet in part 9. And as always, if these videos are helping, please let me know in the comment section.